Taurus March 2017, and I'm Lada from Lada, guys. And I will take you to a quick journey through Venus retrograde, because Venus retrogrades always impact Taurus so much. Even though it's not happening in your sign this year, Taurus, Venus to get retrograde. Venus is the planet that rules you, whether it's your ascendant sign in Taurus, whether it's your moon in Taurus, whether it's your sun in Taurus. Those three parts of the horoscope rule your intrinsic self, your character, your destiny, your body, your emotional state, the most important things in life. So if you have any of those in Taurus, this can be a life-changing time for you starting from March, because Venus goes retrograde once every 19 months approximately, so a year and a half. And Venus is the planet that goes retrograde the most rarely, and that goes retrograde basically very few, the least of all the planets. It's retrograde the least, so this is a very rare event astrologically. That's why we bang on about it when it comes. Everyone releases video of Venus retrograde, because it is important. It is really rare. And what does it mean for you as representatives of Venus? Well, the winds of change are shifting. It's like the planet that rules you change directions, and towards the end of February starts slowing down. You might find yourself slowing down. You might find yourself like things are like they were moving forward for a while, and then from end of February and the beginning of April, things feel like they've stopped. Things feel like there is a stopping and turning around and starting to move backwards. Not in a negative way though. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because reviewing the past and going over things from the past is not a bad thing. Actually, this is a path to perfection and improvement. And we compare the first phase of the Venus retrograde, which is the first basically 3 weeks from the beginning of March to around the 25th of March, with the phase of the waning moon, when the moon is the same energy, so to speak, when the moon starts to become invisible, and you barely can see it at night, and it gets smaller and smaller and comes and joins the sun, so it's totally invisible for 3 days. So this 3 weeks for you, Taurus, can feel like an ending of some sort, can feel like a completion of a big part of your life of some sort. And the last time Venus was retrograde in Aries was 2009, sorry. So throw back to 2009 and think maybe something you're completing that started that time, 2009, whether it's a relationship, whether it's investment, whether it's Venus rules money, relationships, Venus rules any kind of contracts, agreements. It might be something that might have even finished earlier, before that, but it's still lingering and you still haven't released it fully, and it needs a psychological release from you, and it's starting to come back into your consciousness, into your mind, so you can fully untangle the karmic knots there and release it from you, so it's not, so you can let it go. So it can be like a healing process even of first of all, you might start dreaming of a past love, for example. And Venus is retrograde in your 12th house, Taurus. 12th house rules past karma, something from the past that needs completion, that needs ending, something that needs closure, because the 12th house is the final house of endings. And especially karmic will be the first period of the Venus retrograde while it's in its waning phase, becoming smaller and smaller, completing its cycle of 19 months. And on the 25th of March, it will join the sun and it starts a new 19-month cycle. So from then on, you can shift your consciousness after the 25th of March onwards for 2 years almost. You can shift your consciousness to a very different level overall when it comes to your whole life, when it comes to your relationships, when it comes to and leave things from the past behind. But the first 3 weeks, a big reevaluation. And possibly even in your dreams, Venus retrograde will start manifesting, like dreaming about past loves, dreaming about past situations that need closure, that you haven't, that even if they have finished physically, you don't have psychological closure. Some of you might dream even or have thoughts that come from the subconsciousness and take your subconscious mind, which is the 12th house, is the subconscious. So it starts raising, because Venus is retrograde, stirring there, the past, raising into a consciousness either through dreams, through symbols, through omens, through signs around somehow that you're receiving through the invisible world. The 12th house is the invisible world, your higher self that communicates with you through omens, through some kind of much more symbolic language, and starts sending you signals and reminding you of something from the past. And you don't have to do anything, to be honest, yourself. Just allow it to wash out. You're just going within, you're reevaluating, you feel like you're withdrawing your energy from the outside world a little bit, because it's all happening in the 12th house. You're going into your inner sanctum of the soul, of the spirit, of the subconscious. Some of you might even do some therapy, in a sense, might feel useful and benefit by dumping issues from the past through therapy, through dream therapy, through past life regression, anything that connects you to the invisible world, to your subconscious, through meditation of some sort, for example, and release that emotional baggage that needs closure, especially till the 25th of March, because after the 25th of March, Venus starts, it still continues to move retrograde till the 14th of April, but it started already a new cycle. So after the end of March, you start feeling, you might still be more reserved, you can feel things have still slowed down a little bit, and you still reevaluate, but it's kind of the reevaluation period has finished, and you're ready to move on to the next level of consciousness, because Venus rules your whole life. Doesn't only rule relationships for you, but Venus in particular for you rules also your whole life, because it is you, your whole self-image, who you are, what your self-worth is, what do you believe your direction in life is. So basically, while Venus is retrograde the first 3 weeks, there will be big reevaluations of where is my life heading, what do I really love doing, what is worth for me to invest in. And sometimes it can happen through some kind of crisis, like something, you see that something is dying in your life, you see something that is leaving your life, that is leaving you as passions, as desires. So even if you're still loving this thing or that person, you might feel like they're getting out of your grip, kind of starting to evaporate. This is the 12th house energy, where Venus is starting to kind of, because of powers beyond the view, it's starting to kind of slip between your fingers, and Venus requires you to actually to accept that and to let go of it. And Venus will retrograde in your 12th house, will facilitate this period of releasing the past, basically, and healing on the subconscious psychological level. That's speaking psychologically, but what about on the material level, on the tangible? How can this manifest? This can be the completion of some project. 12th house is completing, ending. While Venus is retrograde, some project, especially artistic, imaginative, creative, something Venusian, or any kind of project, because Venus rules you in the 12th house of endings, that you might be putting some final touches during the Venus retrograde period, preparing for a new beginning after that. So that's how it can manifest on the material level. Maybe also 12th house rules expenses. Some expenses can come, some unpaid due bills, metaphorically or symbolically, metaphorically or not symbolically, the other one is, or figuratively or tangibly, basically some unpaid bills can come, because 12th house is what we owe. 12th house is unpaid karma from the past. It's past lives as well. Issues of past lifetimes can come as well for the most sensitive of you, to resolve them and release them. That's what the planet wants when it's retrograde, to work on it from a different angle, see it from a much more occult perspective, spiritual perspective, different state of mind, and transmute it alchemically and release it. But on the material level, it might be some unpaid bills, some unpaid dues, something that, and it might be in a positive way, like you paying someone compassionately, giving up to someone love or attention in some sort, because they're in a victim state and they need your help, and you have like a karmic duty for them to help them. This is how Venus retrograde can come, and you're paying off that karmic duty. It might be from a past lifetime, it might be because someone else helped you before, and now it's time for you to pay back. So that's another way it can manifest. So even if there's some expenses, it's okay. And this can be a fantastic time for you in March, Tauruses, So for example, because Venus is in the 12th house, which is the house of rest, escaping mundane reality, everyday things, and going within, reassessing, reevaluating yourself. I can like imagine if you're Taurus, just going within your inner sanctum and reviving this inner goddess, which has been gradually dying over the past, that's been dying and dwindling, and to be ready to be reborn as a new goddess when the new cycle of Venus starts. The new Venus, remember, you're an inner goddess, even if you're a man. This inner goddess, it's almost like there'll be a rebirth of your self-worth. There'll be a rebirth of your self-love starting after March onwards. Especially when Venus starts moving direct, from the middle of April, you'll feel it. But it might feel first in March like an old part of you is dying. An old part, maybe painfully, but part that was not very balanced. Part of you that allowed others to trample you in love, in relationships, in some sort of how much your self-worth, your self-love, that it was somehow not working well, and you'd let this part of you die. And you'll be reborn as a new goddess with more self-love, self-belief. I have my best friend is Taurus Sun, and this is something basically that's I'm looking forward for it to happen as well. And this is where it's heading. But the period before, it can be like ending, completing, closing doors to things from the past and just leaving them in the past, and then really you'll be able to start moving forward after that. So that's kind of what you can expect. But I also that what can be good is, like, for example, going on a holiday somewhere away in a faraway country. If you're Taurus ascendant, Taurus sun, Taurus moon, going on to allow this old part of you to die, and to do it in a 12th house environment, which is more isolated, more away from everyday hustle and bustle. So it's like exotic country on an island somewhere. If you don't have this opportunity, maybe you'll find yourself isolating more, spending more time alone. This is 12th house energy environment. To have more time with your own thoughts, to allow this dying and rebirth process to happen within you. And so, yeah, I think Tauruses will feel it. And it might be more psychological because it's in the 12th house, more on the spiritual level, on the psychic level. But I wish you well, guys, because it always takes us to a high level once Venus starts a new cycle in regards to, and for you, Venus is your whole life. So thank you so much. Yeah, and I forgot to say Mars is in Taurus from the 9th of March. So still, you're not going to be like fully isolated and like no energy while Venus is moving retrograde. You'd have energy to take up new things as well in your life, and you'd have not just reevaluate the past and to get energized. Maybe someone might press your buttons a bit while Mars is in Taurus, but it kind of gives you this extra vitality that you need while your planet is retrograde to balance things out a little bit, so you're not just swimming in this Neptunian 12th house Venus, retrograde, introspective sphere. So you can be actually active on the material, physical, outside level as well. So thank you so much, Taurus, and subscribe to me and follow me on Facebook.